Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam systematic study, Bhakti Vaibhava, Unit 12, taken by His Grace, Srivas Vanacari, Prabhu. Thank you all for being part of this class. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you very much for making yourself available to teach us.
Hare Krishna, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
So
I think
now we can start.
Okay.
As predicted, I'm actually becoming a yogi now.
Hare Krishna.
Yadinath and Kamalachan are not here, so
I think Kamalasha said he will be present, so maybe he will join later.
maybe he will join later, but
yeah.
So, Tama Krishna Prabhu, I think you will be the one to start this morning as I predicted.
What I'll do is that I wanted to, because Kamalasha is going to be present, I want him to present his verse, but I wanted to do I wanted to just do one verse for Yadinath as an example, because he's not going to be present.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but I don't know why Kamalasha Prabhu is not here.
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't come early, even if he comes.
Now. Prabhu is here now.
Well, maybe we should go. We should. There are more mission. Yadinath and Kamalasha are more mission. Jyoti Swarup from Tama Krishna and Chitraketu Putra, their preaching application. So, let's see. Amagyanatamiridasya Gyanan Gyanashalakaya Chakshuramanetam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunastambitam Tam Sajivam Sanvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakambitam Sya Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namani Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Asri Tatmane Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Iti Namani Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvesesa Sunyavadi Pasachahade Satarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayana Namaskritya Narachava Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhirayat Nashta Praya Subhadresu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, while we wait for Kamalaksha, if he comes, I just want to do text 28 because Yadunath Prabhu said he cannot come because of the case they have on ground, Ganga Prabhu's disappearance, and he is involved with the burial ceremonies and necessary arrangements. So he missed yesterday, he's going to miss today. But I just want to do one verse, verse 28, as an example. Actually, after we closed from yesterday, I was thinking I should have just done one verse to give you an idea how it should be done. But because we made some inputs after your presentations. So I thought today I should just do one verse. And since Yadunath Prabhu is not coming, we can do one verse, just for example. So if you take verse 28, the verse says, that princess, O Holy One, will be just the type you have been thinking of in your heart for all these long years. She will soon be yours and will serve you to your heart's content. In the purport, is knocking my door. I'm giving class. Hare Krishna. I'm giving class. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that the Lord awards all benedictions according to the heart's desire of a devotee. The Lord informs Kandarma Muni, the girl that will be married to him will be suitable. And then Srila Prabhupada went on to say, only by God's grace, one can get a good wife as he desires. So therefore, if we pray to the Lord in every transaction of our material existence, everything will be done nicely and just suitable to our heart's desire. In all circumstances, we must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and depend completely on a decision. Because Kandarma Muni depended on the Lord, he got a wife beyond his expectation. So, see, this point or these statements can be viewed from all aspects. In other words, you can see Mura mission in this verse. You can see personal application in this verse. You can see preaching application in this verse. I mean, in these statements of Prabhupada. So I just want to demonstrate that. So first of all, we'll go to Mura mission because that is the section. The section is on the Mura mission. So in Prabhupada's life, did we see a simile? In Prabhupada's life, did we see a similar situation? Did we see Prabhupada's mood rhyming with this? Certainly, yes. Certainly. Prabhupada depended on the Lord, even on his way to America. If you look at the prayer of Srila Prabhupada, Amarkadini, whatever they call that prayer. You will see Prabhupada dependent on the Lord. He prayed to the Lord. He said, I don't know why you are bringing me here, but you must have a purpose for bringing me here. And if it is your wish that these Westerners can understand this philosophy, I depend on your mercy. Please make them favorable for the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Mura mission, we can see the Prabhupada, his mood was always depending on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can see that this verse and the contents of the purport, they exemplify Prabhupada's mood. They exemplify Prabhupada's mission. So then, if you want to go personal application, you can say, okay, Kandamamuni depended on the Supreme Personality of Godhead for a choice of a wife. So in my life, I am going to depend on Krishna for whatever plans I have. Because Kandamamuni depended on the Lord for a choice of a wife, he obtained a wife beyond his expectation. So if we depend on the Lord, we can always obtain results beyond our expectation. So this is personal application, though it is not under that goal, but I'm just trying to demonstrate how we can apply every statement in a personal way, in a mood and mission way, and even in the preaching way. So if you look at the preaching application, very wonderful. Preaching application means you want to convince your audience the importance of a principle. That is preaching application. To preach means to convince your audience. If you cannot convince your audience of the principles you are expatiating, if you cannot convince your audience of the subject matter before you, if you cannot convince your audience what you want to give to them, then you fail at the end. So in preaching application, the goal is to convince the audience of the importance of what you are presenting. So if you come to preaching application, there are a lot of points here. It says the Lord awards benedictions according to the heart of the devotee, according to the heart's desire of the devotee. That's a very beautiful point. The Lord knows everyone's heart, and the Lord will fulfill everyone's desire. The Lord knows everybody's desire, and only the Lord can fulfill those desires. So you can expatiate on this more. And then it says, the Lord informs Kandharma Muni that a girl that will be married to you will be suitable. So the Lord is the best matcher. The Lord is the best matcher of marriages. He knows the character of the boy, and he knows the character of the girl. And he knows that if I bring these two people together, they will make a good family. The Lord knows that. In fact, the science of astrology is based on what has been given to the great sages. Brigumuni is said to be the father of astrology. Where did he get the knowledge from? He got it from Brahma. Where did Brahma get the knowledge from? From the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, the Lord is the perfect astrologer. And he can make the perfect marriage. So then he went on to say that if we pray to the Supreme Lord in every transaction of our material existence, everything will be done nicely and just suitable to our heart's desire. Then he said, in all circumstances, we must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are all wonderful preaching points that we can use to convince our audience the importance of taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the importance of depending on the Lord. So I just wanted to demonstrate this, though it is under the goal of Mura mission, but you can always see that you can always tweak it to suit a particular Mura mission. I mean, to suit a particular objective, a particular goal, academic goal. These are goals: preaching, personal application, Mura mission, preaching application, what do they call it? Shastric integrity. All these are academic goals that we want to achieve by studying the scripture. So this is something I just wanted to share to help for those who have not yet done their own, and maybe against future exercises of this nature. So if there are any comments, they are welcome. If there are no comments, then we can begin with the students' presentations.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the demonstration, Prabhuji. We're grateful for your teaching by example. But I want to ask a question before we take off. I know we have few students.
Okay.
For personal application, because I did personal application yesterday. So
yeah,
you touched on personal application also. When we say we depend on the Lord to arrange and perfect our desire, just like Kadamba Muni, he wishes to have he desires to have a wife. So, but he took shelter of the Lord, that the Lord should facilitate that, even though he knew that the devotee does not ask the Lord for anything, but still he asked the Lord, please. So this has been a confusing thing for me, maybe probably from the beginning of the devotion service. I feel reluctant to pray to the Lord for anything. Because that is how we started the devotional life. You don't ask the Lord for anything. Devotee is niskam. So, but as we grow in devotional stuff, we also start realizing the importance of prayers. And we see in the life of devotees, and then the life of Kadamba Muni here, he was praying. So in our own practical application of devotional service, vis-a-vis what Kadamba Muni has expressed here, even though we don't have anything business with this material world any longer, we just want to go back to Krishna and remain in his eternal service. But we are living in this present body and we have so many needs. The body has so many needs. We have so many bodily disease or attachment, as the scriptures call it. Wife, family. They are necessary distractions that are there with us already. And their needs are there. So can a devotee pray to the Lord? Please give me enough resources to be able to maintain these extensions of my body in the form of family, wife, children, so that it doesn't become my distraction in concentrating in serving you.
Well, as you said earlier on stated, a devotee does not really pray to the Lord for material facilities.
Hmm.
A devotee doesn't pray to the Lord for material facilities. A devotee, his main goal is how to get out of this material world. But we must admit that that is a level of consciousness. Like we see in the case of Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti is praying that, my Lord, let there be more difficulties. Let there be more challenges. Because when there are miseries, when there are distresses, then it makes us remember you. So one may wonder why this lady, they have just gone through a lot of trouble, and Krishna had finally made them the kings, the emperors of the world, and now Krishna wants to leave for Dwaraka.
And he's asking for more
And Queen
problems.
Kunti is praying for more miseries. So Srila Prabhupada explains that is the nature of very exalted devotees. Whatever will make them remember Krishna, they consider it favorable. But Prabhupada says we cannot imitate them.
Hmm.
Yeah, we cannot imitate them because they are on their own level. They are on their own platform of devotional service. And so they can pray for difficulties. They can pray for miseries. On our platform, we may not even want to pray for anything. That is also our platform. We just want Krishna. Whatever you want me to experience, that's over to you, Krishna. But there is also a platform that whereby devotee has to pray to the Lord, even for maintenance, even for a wife, even for his needs. So I will say it's a question of levels. And like the case of, there's a story, Narasimha Mehta. I think Jyoti Prabhu knows the story. Narasimha Mehta is a latter day sadhu from Gujarat. And he was very absorbed in his bhajans. His only business was to travel, perform kirtan, chant, and speak about Krishna consciousness. That's his whole business. But at the same time, he was a family man. He had a wife and children. So when it happens like that, it becomes a problem. So the wife was worried, especially when their daughter was of marriageable age. And you know, the Vedic system is that the father must dowry the daughter. The father must have a good dowry if you want people to come for your daughter. And here is this sadhu. He had no money. He had no source of income. And he was not even making any effort to make that arrangement. He was just absorbing his preaching, absorbing his bhajan, absorbing his kirtan, traveling here and there, and that's all that he's doing. So he was giving a lot of anxiety to the wife. So the wife started insulting him, blasting him. What a hopeless husband I've married. What kind of life is this? It's a curse to have such a husband. Here, our daughter is ready for marriage. She's of marriageable age. The whole community is talking about it, and this useless man is not even thinking about it. So, but Narasimha Mehta was not bothered. He was absorbed in his barb. And so Krishna had to take care of the situation. So the wife, at the last end of the whole show, gave him her bangle. The father, when she was getting married to Narasimha Mehta, the father was a rich man, so the father gave them some golden jewelry and some things like that as a dowry. So when the situation became very intense, the wife said, all right, since you're not ready to find money to dowry our daughter, take my jewelry my father gave me, go and sell them and bring the money so that we can use it to dowry our daughter. I want us to be free from this shame. Narasimha Mehta took the jewelry, put it in his Sankirtan bag, and forgot about them. Also absorbed in his preaching, he forgot that he had to sell the jewelry. And after 1 month, one day he was looking for something.
Maharaj,
Yes.
the thing is that in all his lifetime, he doesn't know how to sell. He only knows how to sell love of God.
So after 1 month, he was looking for something, and he saw the jewelry in his bag. And he remembered, oh my God, this woman will kill me this time around. But Krishna was monitoring the situation. So after 1 month, Krishna arranged the marriage, even without Narasimha Mehta's knowledge. The wife was in the house, and all of a sudden, some beautiful boy, handsome boy, out of the world, arrived at his doorstep with a very big basket. And in that basket, everything needed for the wedding was inside. There was enough money, there was enough clothing, there was enough jewelry, there was enough food, there was everything that was needed to make the marriage a wonderful marriage was inside that basket. And this beautiful boy asked, is it Narasimha Mehta's house? And the woman said, yes. He said, okay, Narasimha Mehta is very busy. He is busy doing his service. And he has sent me that I should bring this to you to organize your daughter's wedding. You should go ahead and organize the wedding. Don't wait for him. He will come later. And the wife was very excited that his husband has finally relented. The husband has finally done the needful. So they had the best wedding in the village. The best wedding in the village. Narasimha Mehta didn't even know anything about this. He was still absorbed in his preaching. So after some time, he was coming home, and his heart was beating that my wife would drive me out of the house because first, he has not sold the jewelry. He has not made any arrangement. Trouble. So when he was just about a kilometer away from his house, he started asking the villagers, is there any news about my family? Is there any news about something that's happened here? He wants to gather some information and prepare himself to face the music. And he was surprised when the villagers said, oh, we had the best marriage in this area. Your daughter got married and we had the best of marriages. We have never seen this kind of marriage before. He was surprised. But that gave him courage to go home. At least the job has been done. So he went home. And when the wife saw him coming, the wife was so happy. He ran, met him, embraced him, and thanked him, and did all the things he has to do for arranging such a beautiful marriage. And so Narasimha Mehta began to inquire from the wife that you are thanking me, you are saying all these things, but honestly, your jewelry is still here. I did not sell your jewelry. They are still here. Here they are. But tell me, who brought those things in my name? And when the woman began to describe, immediately Narasimha Mehta understood it was Krishna. He understood. It was Krishna himself who came with all those things for the wedding. So it's a level. If we have complete faith in the Lord, we may not have to pray to him for anything. The Lord will provide, for sure. But if our faith is not so strong, we have to pray. So that's what I'm saying. There are different levels. Even on a higher level, the devotees are praying for problems, like Kunti is not praying for solutions, he's praying for problems. And if you go and be preaching this out there, people will think you are crazy. How can you pray God and praying for problems? But that is a level of consciousness. So it's a matter of where we belong. If there is a need, if you don't have that strong faith that Krishna will provide, then you pray, you ask him, please, my Lord, I need these things for my service, for this, for this, for this. And the Lord, he knows if those things are very necessary, the Lord will provide. In fact, there's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Krishna is saying that that if a devotee prays to me for, if a devotee is engaged in my devotional service and he prays to me for some material facility, I consider him unwise. I consider him a fool. But I, the Lord, who is the epitome of wisdom, I will give him Bhakti. I will give him Bhava. I will give him love, because I know that is the real thing that will help him. But if whatever he's praying for will not distract him from his devotional service, I will reward him. So we can pray to the Lord. The Lord has the final say. If he realizes that by giving us what we are praying for is going to distract us from devotional service, he may not give us. But if what we are praying for will help us to progress on our path, the Lord will help us. So my answer is yes and no. Yes.
Yes. My own, I would say, comment in the case of Kadamamuni.
Yes.
You know, due to the precedent and wish of his father, like Brahma, and previously Brahma was appointed in many ways in his purpose of populating the universe. First of all, the four Kumaras, they were disappointment to him. Then Lord Shiva was also like disappointment. So I think Karamuni, when he now wants to fulfill the desire of his father, I think it was right for him to to seek God.
Yes, I agree. Kandabamuni's situation is different from our situation. He was a Prajapati, and they had to increase the universal population. So therefore, and they were not, the population was very scanty. So the possibility of getting a wife at that time was almost impossible. Only the Lord could arrange it. You see, so therefore, his case is a very special case, that he had to execute the orders of Brahma in populating the universe. And so he had to pray. So that is different. But I'm just talking in general terms that we can pray to the Lord for whatever we need. We have the right to pray. Nobody can stop you from praying. But then it does not necessarily mean that whatever we pray for, the Lord will give us.
So when we prayed and we're in devotional service, and the Lord is not giving what we are asking for.
It means
How do we
that it means that the Lord knows that if He gives you those things, they will distract you from your devotional service. So, and that's why He's not giving. So that should be understood.
That's why some people worship demigods.
And that's why some people prefer worshiping demigods, because a Krishna will not give you something that would disturb you, that would distract you from devotional service. As for a demigod, they don't care. Once you ask, they give. Whether it's going to kill you or kill them, they'll give. Like that. So people prefer worshiping demigods. Because for Krishna, he's clearly said it, that if my devotee asks me for material things, I consider him foolish. But if those things are necessary for his life, are necessary for his devotional service, I won't give. But if they are not necessary, I would rather give him Baba. I will give him love.
Maharaj,
Yep.
please, what the difference can we make from what we are calling prayer, or let me say, what is really prayer? Since the soul is imbued with constant desiring, and then the ones are there. The mind is always thinking, and Krishna says, just engage your mind always in thinking about me.
Yeah.
So when a prayer is prayer, that formal presentation to the Lord is what we call prayer, or when our thought also dwells on Krishna, is prayer. And then when we are desiring things in the heart, though we are not saying anything about it openly, all these are also prayers. How do we differentiate these things?
Well, prayer simply means communication with the Lord. Prayer means communication. And the communication could be a request. It could be a glorification. It could be an appreciation. So all these are forms of prayer. We could glorify the Lord by singing his praises, singing his names. It's prayer. The Hare Krishna mantra is a prayer. We could appreciate the Lord by thanking him. Oh, my dear Lord, you've done such wonderful things for me in my life. It's also a prayer, it's a form of a prayer. And we could also request, my dear Lord, I need some material facility to facilitate my devotional service. Maybe I need a vehicle, maybe I need a house, maybe I need a wife, maybe I need something that will help me become more stable in my devotional service. And it's also a prayer. Or you can even pray for more intelligence to be able to, deliver very nice presentations to convince people about Krishna consciousness. You can pray for empowerment to become an instrument in the preaching mission. You can pray to be an instrument that the Lord can use to bring other people to Krishna consciousness. All these are different forms of prayers. So, and at the very advanced level, one's mind is totally absorbed in these activities. At an advanced level, one does not have to open his mouth and even pray, because 24 hours, he's glorifying the Lord in his mind. 24 hours, he's praising the Lord in his mind. 24 hours, he's thinking about the Lord in his mind. So at a certain level, his life is just constant prayer. So prayer means communication. So it could take any form, whether mental, physical, verbal, vocal, it can take any form. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
So I think we should proceed now. Otherwise, time will go against us today again. So let's give the chance. Is Kamalaksha Prabhu here?
The Kamalaksha has come now, so he can take it over.
So he the floor is his. We want to hear his presentation. on the Muda
Shimon
mission.
Kamalash Prabhu.
He was here, but I think he left again.
Who left again? Oh, he has left. Oh.
Anyway, he said that he has problem with his internet. I don't know what he's using.
Yeah, I've told him several times that
He has to
the
make his
seriousness of
strong.
he could always locate a place and go there on the time for it. It's just a matter of priority.
Yeah, he has to choose a place where it is strong and go
And then
to.
always go there when it is time for the class. That's
He
what
has to
Guru
go
teach us. But anyway, anticipated.
and-
Tama Krishna Prabhu. Tama Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, over to you.
Yes. Oh, I think Jyoti will come before.
Start first. Is number
Yes.
6.
Okay, it's Jyoti Sharup.
Yeah.
Before
Okay,
then,
Jyoti Sharup.
yes, before then, I want to say there's so many noise on the platform. So those who are not ready to talk, they should mute.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay, so Jyoti Sharup Prabhu, over to you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dhanyavad.
Yeah, Maharaj. So I have to present a sloka description from 38 to 41.
Okay.
Yes. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaivam narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam vidurayet. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pritharina Nirvishesha Shanyadi Paschatya Deshatarina Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaurabhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare.
So the sloka from 38 to 41 is describing about the beauty of Bindu Sarovar, where Karda Muni is there, and the sloka says the holy lake Bindu Sarovar, flooded by water of the river Saraswati, was restored to by host of eminent sages. Its holy water was not only auspicious but as sweet as nectar. It was called Bindu Sarovar because drop of tear had fallen there from the eyes of the Lord, who was overwhelmed by extreme compassion for the sage who had sought his protection. The next sloka says, the shore of the lake was surrounded by a cluster of pious trees and creepers, rich in fruits and flowers of all seasons, that afforded shelter to pious animal and the bird, which uttered various cries. It was adorned by the beauty of grove of forest trees. And the areas resounded with the notes of overjoyed birds, intoxicated bees wandered there, intoxicated peacocks proudly danced, and merry cuckoos called one another. So here, Prabhupada is explaining to us about the Bindu Sarovar. Bindu Sarovar is located in Ahmedabad, is a part of Gujarat. From Ahmedabad is like 30 kilometers. And the Bindu Sarovar now is a very auspicious place. When we goes there, we can even feel the presence of Lord Vishnu. The Sarovar, a Bindu is a drop. So like for a Lord, there is no difference between spiritual world and material world, because everything coming from him is transcendental. So the material world, anything he drops,
whether a drop from the eyes or a drop from the toes are pure and transcendental substance in the material world. So Prabhupada said that Lord arrived there and he was so compassionate that he shed tears. Actually, when he saw the Kardam Muni and his affection towards the Lord, he shed a tear, and one of the drop fell into that Bindu Sarovar. That's how that Sarovar is so auspicious, and Lord's toe because of the perception, perspiration, a drop fell, and and river Ganges formed. Uh, so both the transcendental entities, I mean Bindu Sarovar and Ganga Sarovar, Ganga River, both are transcendental embodies. So the water from Bindu Sarovar is described here as a Shiva Mrita Jala. Shiva means curing. So this Jala or this water can cure anyone whoever drinks this water, it can be cured of all material diseases. Similarly, like when we goes to river Ganga, anyone who takes bath in that river also relieve all his material diseases. So it is very auspicious place where Kardam Muni and Lord appears there. So and it is said that Lord was overwhelmed by the extreme compassion for the sage who sought his protection. So the Lord is wonderful person. I mean, when we think how can Lord can shed a tear, but when we think like impersonalist, they cannot understand this thing. But as a devotee, we must understand that Lord is so much, I mean, wonderful person. He can also shed tear with the joy. These things to be understand other way, or it is very difficult to comprehend. Kardam Muni, who was in material world, is, I mean, when we think that how can Kardam Muni is materialistic and desiring something, but we must understand there is a lost desire, and he can fulfill a devotee's desire. Just like Lord's activity in loving pastime with gopis, we how we can comprehend this? The exchange is and explain that the Lord's activity are arranged by his internal potency of the Lord. So it is very sweet and nice things that there in material world, but sweetened things. The sweetest things with it should be with the Krishna. I mean, it is very nice to hear and learn about these sacred places. And there are so many material things also which is in this material world, but it will be more sweeter when we add Krishna to it. So that uh, Lord will be with us always. As Maharaj just said, that Narasimha Mehta, he was always absorbed in Lord's service, always. Even while sleeping, he was always chanting. So we must always think about God, and we must include God in our all activities. Like as Kardam Muni also he did, he have desire, but he added Krishna to it. So the next verse was saying that there are so many pious trees and creepers, rich in fruits and flowers. So there are so many pious trees. Pious trees are which gives very nice fruit and flowers. There are these are the only pious tree. The rest we can say which the trees which does not bear a fruit or a flower, they are impious. So when we say about pious and impious, there are pious human beings also. So pious human beings who only can remember and chant and glorify the God or the Lord, they are the only pious. Impious people or impious human being cannot glorify the Lord. So there are uh, pious trees which bear a fruit and flowers. They are also surrounded by this Bindu Sarovar, and the animals and the birds like peacocks and cuckoos, they always remember Krishna and they glorify Krishna always, and they are always singing the glorify of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we should also always add Krishna in our life, and we should try to be pious, and we should include Krishna in our life so that we can uh, we can end our life and go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you, Yotiswara Prabhu. We'll take some comments from your fellow students.
Okay,
So, who wants to comment?
Just for a note, Yotiswara Prabhu spent 9 minutes for his presentation.
Okay. So, any comments in respect to the goal preaching application? Any comments? As we do, first you say something positive, and if there is some correction, some area of improvement, you bring that up. Then again, you close with something positive. So it's called a sandwich assessment.
Thank you. I'll take the lead again, since nobody wants to talk. Thank you very much, Yotiswara Prabhu, for your beautiful presentation.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Like I've always said, every devotee is unique in his own way. And like it was said, the mood of a devotee is expressed in how he presents Krishna consciousness. So I appreciate the way you presented it. You started by referencing the text and the purport, Prabhupada's explanation. So that was beautiful. In the course of your presentation, what I did not see or get was, I kept on asking myself question. What do we mean when we say preaching? Because you're supposed to be doing preaching application, meaning that we want to tell somebody, give somebody the reason why he should accept what we are saying. That's my understanding of preaching. So in your presentation, I was expecting you to speak strongly about the need for people or persons to accept the authenticity of the glories of Bindu Sarovara and take shelter of that. You ended that very well, that ultimately everything should be connected to Krishna. And that was beautiful because that is the essence of everything, that we should ultimately, and I like it that you you chanted the Maha Mantra, full Maha Mantra. Prabhupada always does this. So it's good. Even though whatever fault that is there in any endeavor, it is said with the chanting of the holy name, it becomes perfect. So I appreciate that aspect. I didn't hear any reference to any scriptures to back up your point or other related stories. Prabhupada, if you notice, when Prabhupada was talking of Bindu Sarubhara, he went to quote the importance of Ganga. So I was expecting you to do the same thing as you're glorifying the importance of Bindu Sarubhara. I was expecting that you bring some story related or scriptural text related to give nourishment to your presentation. Like I said, the essence of preaching, to my understanding, is that to get the listener to hook up into what you're presenting as so important that they accept it in their lives. So, but in general, like I said, you've done beautifully well. You touched all of the points that are made in the text and the purpose. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
My own comments, even though I have a little problem with my hearing gadgets, but the little I have, I'm really impressed about the narrations, because while he was narrating it, making his presentation, it was as if himself was there, or he has been to that place before, the way he was making the description. So I appreciated that one so much. But the other area of it is preaching, because preaching at times, well, I will not fault him so much on preaching, because preaching depends on the type of people you are preaching to. If your audience are more of Christians or Islamic, then probably one can even quote from Bible or even the Quran, so that you can bring the subject matter closer to the audience. So, but I still think that preaching area will be better. But generally, I think we have tried. Hare Krishna.
Any other comments before we give our comment?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I appreciate J.T. Swarup Prabhu a lot, like referencing to Sadhika Prabhu's comments. Every devotee is special. So his presentation is quite appreciable. And he has made insight into the text that is very, very good. And the very points in the text. But what, like Maharaj said, the preaching the application seems to be a little bit easier in the sense that one wants to draw everybody back to their own joy. And that joy can only be had with connection with the Lord. So I was expecting him as a preacher, first, the mindset of the preacher is that you want to make people to realize that their present condition is deplorable. And therefore, you are presenting them what will be very sweet for them. So I was expecting him to highlight more on our present condition. The material world is a place of illusion for us. the human body we have is a very big tool, which is the only means that can help us to come out of this entanglement. And then the process, particularly to our present age, Kali Yuga, the method given is the chanting of the holy name. And that one, he highlighted it at the end of when he chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But I was expecting him to hit more on that. But in essence, he has delivered a very nice presentation. And then, like Sarika is saying, you just need to be backed with some scriptural references. So he has done well. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Prabhu, you want to say something?
Actually, no.
And also, Kamalacha Prabhu is here again. Kamalacha Prabhu keeps coming in and going. Are you incarnation of Vayu, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, sorry, the network is waving here.
Okay, Prabhuji. You want to make any comments on Jyoti Sharup Prabhu's presentation? You want to make any comment on Prabhu's comment, or you didn't hear his presentation? I'm not sure he's here.
No, he's gonna
okay,
get...
maybe you can get. He's still here, but probably maybe I learned from there.
Okay. All right.
Maybe you can go ahead. Grace Srivas.
Yeah. It's already beyond 9, so let's see. We have to be a bit smart, snappy. Jyoti Sharup Prabhu, your presentation was nice. You began by, speaking about Bindu Sarovar. Actually, that is the whole central point. The central point in your presentation is the glory of Bindu Sarovar. And you mentioned the fact that it is a very auspicious place. It's a nice holy place. That was very nice. And of course, you mentioned the fact that because the Lord's tears dropped there, which gave you the name Bindu Sarovar, it has made the place auspicious. Yeah, all those points were very relevant and very good. But I was expecting you to persuade your audience, because you want to convince them of the importance of that place. Preaching, as I said earlier on, preaching means to persuade. So that is if you are good at persuading people, or if your goal is to persuade people to accept and imbibe or practice whatever you are saying, then you're a good preacher. A good preacher means you leave an impression on the people who would be inspired or desire to follow whatever you're telling them. So in order to do that, you needed to, mention more points. Like it talks about the type of animals that live there. It talked about the type of trees that were found there. It talked about the type of birds, and even the sound. The whole place was resounded with notes of overjoyed birds, intoxicated bees, intoxicated peacocks, which proudly dance and merrymaking cuckoos. All of these things would have been highlighted. They would have added to the beauty, and they are mentioned actually. So in a preaching application, you have to look for the points that would embellish or that would beautify your presentation, that would persuade or attract your audience. So you did, but it wasn't very elaborate. You did, but it wasn't very strong. So in preaching application, you have to look for all the necessary points that will convince your audience that what you are saying is worthy of experiencing. So if you describe Bindu Sarovar in such a beautiful language, in such a beautiful, presentation, then your audience will be inspired to visit Bindu Sarovar. Your audience will be attracted to Bindu Sarovar. They will want to go there. And so it means you have achieved your aim. You've achieved your goal of selling Bindu Sarovar to them. So in preaching application, you have to persuade. And you can only persuade when you have a lot of facts or a lot of points to support your main point. So the main point here is Bindu Sarovar. And the other descriptions are to add up to make Bindu Sarovar more attractive. So, but overall, you did a nice job in presenting Bindu Sarovar. So would you like to react briefly before we move to the next person?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for correcting your devotees. Yes, I will surely do my best to make improvement in all preaching applications, and I will surely try to read more, know more, so that I can preach well and convince someone and some new audience also. Okay, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Jyoti Sharu Prabhu, for your response.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I think we'll go back to Kamalasha Prabhu. We don't know whether his internet.
Kamalasha Prabhu, are you ready? Mood and mission. Kamalasha Prabhu, can you unmute?
Hare Krishna, Dhanyavad Pranam.
Dhanyavad Pranams.
Please, I wanted to ask some questions before the network took me out again.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about I've not seen any presentation. I want to see so that I can know how to follow the format, please.
Okay. I made an example of it this morning, but because of your network, you could not witness. So anyway, I think let's go to the next person.
Tamal Krishna Prabhu.
Tamal Prabhu, maybe we can let Tamal come. And is Chitraketu Prabhu here?
Chitraketu Prabhu is not here now. Okay, he's here. He's here. Still here.
All right. So
Yes, Maharaj, I'm here.
Okay, good. So let Tamal give his own, and then maybe Chitraketu Prabhu will give his own, and then
we'll come back to Kamalasha finally.
So you can see how it is done. So Tamal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prisaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Tita Padashita Srivas Namni. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prisaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Tita Swami Iti Namni. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shutatini Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Namni. Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Visaya Bhutara Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Chinami Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Vani Picha Devi Shesha Navadi Paskati Adishatani Om Majnana Timalinda Sia Janada Sarakaya Katu Sumitanye Nata Shma Shri Guru V Namaha. Hare Krishna. Yes. What I want to say is I would like to read the translation from 32, 33, I have one translation, and then 34. So, like Bindu Saraswati was adored by growing trees such as Kandaba, Kampaka, Asoka, Karanja, Bakula, Asana, Kinda, Kunda, Madara, Kutaja, and young mango trees. These are the trees. When you say Bindu Saraba, where the lake is, you have to get so many trees, something with the environment. So this environment, you can see so many trees, different types of trees with different flowers on it for very auspicious. And the area too, the surrounding area, Bahamas, you get so many things, like so many animals, like birds like Karandeva duck, pavas, swans, ostriches, waterfowls, tunas, chakavakas, and cuckoos. Those are the animals surrounding those areas for very auspicious. One may ask, the environment of different types of birds from with the praising notes. As I already said, they always intoxicated by the aroma of secreted from their navels. And here too, we see animals like gavayas. This gavayas is a part of cows. And in the purport, they said we use it to fund the deities. I want to read something here on the purport. It said the most trees, flowers, fruits, and the birds mentioned here, all the trees mentioned are very pious in that they produce a nice aroma flowers, such as Kampaka, as I already said. The sweet sound, water flows, and kronos made the surrounded area as pleasant as possible and created a very suitable spiritual atmosphere. There's a noise. Madovan, please mute. Okay. So those are always in the great demand of the higher class of Hindus. These branches of hair is used in the temple worship to fund the deities, that the Gavayas. So in all this, they are always intoxicated by the aromas and mass secreted from the navels. So you can see here, All those things are purposely for the service of the Lord. And those who go there, they are sages. So what I want to say is, it's good. I wish to visit there. So do all the devotees. I think this water that flow from the Ganges and then Bindu Sarava is everybody who drink this nectar or drink this water, all the material hankerings, everything is solved. So in short, this area is very auspicious for a devotees. Everybody, devotees and non-devotees, when you go there, I think things makes perfect in everyone's life. That is my desire. I hope all of us, we may like to visit areas like this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have you covered your apportioned or allotted time? Has it covered the time?
Yes, I think I'm end. I don't know whether the time.
Yes, actually, what happened is that when it started, I didn't remember to start immediately, but it spent altogether around about 7 minutes.
7 minutes, okay.
So if any comments or any.
So any feedback, any comments from the students? Anyone wants to comment?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I'm so sorry because I did not even know the text he was trying to.
Okay, he was doing 40, 42,
42, 43, 44.
44.
Yes.
So it was a bit difficult for me to grasp what he was trying to say, but I think in the area, and also it is preaching. So at the end, he tries to address the congregation or the audience, you know, because preaching at the end of the day, you have to focus on the audience. So, which I think he tried to do that at the end of his preaching. So, in that aspect, I think he has tried. And well, generally, I think he has tried. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So any area of improvement you want to mention? Because the system is one positive thing, one area of improvement, and then again something positive. That is the standard way of giving assessment or giving feedback.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's just because I have some technical issues.
Okay.
So I couldn't be too specific. So that's my excuse. I'm so sorry about that.
No problem. We are learning. We are in a process. It's a learning process. So my duty is to always bring out the areas you need to understand so that you can always apply it in the future. So any other comments from any student?
Jyoti Sharu?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, I have so many faults. How can I correct someone?
No. You have no fault. It's an exercise
Yes.
that when you speak, it's not that actually, we are not even correcting, we are helping them.
Yeah, yeah.
We are helping them because it's an exercise, we are all learning some skills. You see, the studying Bhakti Vaibhava is not just the philosophy alone, but you also learn skills how to present it.
Yes.
When Bhakti Narasingha Maharaj from South Africa was a Bhakti Vaibhava student, I had some difficulty with him. He was in my class for BV1, BV2, and those days we have physical classes. So when he came to presentation, he said he's not good at it, he cannot do it. I said, Maharaj, see, the idea of doing Bhakti Vaibhava is not just to let you study the scripture and go away. Part of the plan is to give you skills to present it. So if you just study the philosophy and go away without learning the skills how to present it, you haven't achieved much. You've achieved something, but not much, because you cannot present it. So I said it is compulsory. If you don't do the presentation, I will not recommend you to get a certificate. I'm sorry, but that is it. So I said, you have to try. He's not a public speaker, he's not this. I said, Maran, you have to try. So we have some little differences, but I insisted as a teacher. I said, put away your Senya's position. I'm your teacher now. You have to listen to me. So I insisted. He tried to find his way. I didn't allow him. So finally he presented. The first presentation wasn't good, but it gave him the courage. And the second presentation, he did marvelously well. And then after he graduated, this year I met him in Mayapur. Maharaj came to me and started thanking me. He said, Prabhu, I must thank you. I said, what are you thanking me for? He said, you see, when I was a student, I was trying to be difficult. But you broke my jinx. You broke my difficulty. You acted as a teacher. You told me that I must do the presentation, otherwise you will not graduate me. And I did it. But I have seen how useful those skills are. He said, now, wherever I go, I present Krishna consciousness in a very systematic way. I present the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, Bhagavatam, in a very wonderful way, the way we learned from the classroom. So now I realize why you were insisting that I must do it. So we have become very good friends. Wherever we go, he always says, Srivas is my teacher. He gave me some guidelines in studying Srimad Bhagavatam. He gave me some skills. But that is what we also receive from our teachers. It's a discipline succession. We receive from the teachers, we give it to students. You also become teachers, also give it to others. So therefore, you're not finding fault is a process whereby by correcting others, you also learn. You see, when you point out somebody's weakness, you are also reminding yourself to be careful of those weaknesses. So it's part of the process. You have to give feedback, and you should be eager to do it, because by doing it, it helps you also to progress. So that is what I want to say. Okay, so anyway, you say something.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Tamal Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, your presentation was very nice. Since you spoke about the Lord, always is wonderful. We know in presentation, the first thing, we have been given 10 minutes. So we should abide in that time period only. So we should not exceed, and we should not, stay below. So that at least we know that we have a time, and within that time we have to fix and present our mission. So we should note all those things. And when even I was presenting, I did not keep that thing in my mind, one thing. But when Maharaj corrected me, I realized that, when we are presenting, we should go inside that mood. like we were there or we are there, and then we present it. And we should try to present it to the people so that even if they don't want it to go, we will tell them to go there. So if we present it that way with Prabhupada's preaching applications, then it will be easier for us. So I realized that, and I understood that after I finished my part, I realized that we should learn very well about that particular point, and we should try to present it that point only, so someone will be convinced easily. So Prabhuji, we should just uh, think about our time duration and the main point, so that all will, they will understand our mission. The rest, everything was okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other
Hare
comment?
Krishna. Yeah, Jyoti Sharup probably didn't want to speak, but they ended up actually nailing the main point, because I didn't want to speak first because I didn't want to lead. Thank you very much for the observation. It means actually you were listening. Thank you very much, Tamara Krishna Prabhu, for your presentation. Your presentation was nice. You speak to the text and the references there, but what I observe, which I think that's why I'm commending Jyoti Sharup Prabhu, was that you are not in the mood. You are speaking as if somebody is telling you something and you are repeating, but you didn't feel convinced. You didn't carry the mood as if this thing is real or something that you are convinced about. That was visibly present in your presentation. You are presenting it as something abstract, as not something that you own. And preaching application means that you have to own it. And to own it means that you have to deep into it, understand it, get convinced by yourself, clarify if you don't have understanding, then you will be able to transmit that because it goes in your speech. So that was what was missing. But I appreciate your courage. You was very, you approached it with mood of duty. That was very good. Again, I think references we should always, because it enriches our presentation. So we should always look for something that will reference what we are speaking, so that it expresses our broader understanding of the subject matter. But in all, you've done very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So what I would say is that thank you for attempting. And they said the little boy who said he would attempt, he would try, find himself at the top of the mountain. But that one who is reluctant for the fear of, climbing the hill, he remains at the bottom of the hill. So for the fact that you attempted, you tried, you made an attempt, that is very nice. So you build on that. Build on that. So you made an attempt to present your verses. You talked about the animals, the flowers, and the special things that are around Bindu Sarovar. Actually, you and Jyoti Sharup are sharing the same topic, so to speak. The central point is Bindu Sarovar, the beauty of Bindu Sarovar. So you mentioned some facts, some things like the Gavayas, the bunch of hair that are used for deity worship, and the Kasturis, musk, and the special musk trees and all that, they're all mentioned there. So you mentioned those things, but as Salika Prabhu said, you were not very convinced of what you were saying. It could be detected that you are not very convinced of what you are saying. So I will say, because you did not probably have time to study the subject matter well. And I noticed that in many of the students, they did not have time to study the verses and the purports. See, when you have time to study the verse and the purport and pick out those points, go over them again and again, you become more convinced and you become more familiar. Then you can now present them. As a matter of fact, if you're not convinced about something, you cannot convince anybody about it. That is a fact. You have to be convinced about something to convince another person. So, and to do that, you have to familiarize yourself with the subject matter. You have to study it well over and over again to be sure that this is what you want to say. So, thank you for the attempt. Thank you for putting up the presentation, and we hope in the future you would do much better using the same principles that we are just giving here. So what is your reaction? Any reaction? You want to say something briefly before we go to the next person? Let's have two presentations.
Hare Krishna. Yes, what I want to say is I think everybody is well accepted. The only point Maharaj said, oh, time to study. When I study, I understand clearly. But the time to do it and those things, I have to schedule all those things and then plan for study from this place to this place, verse after verse, chapter after chapter. Then I hope things will be okay. So I pray to Guru Maharaj and Krishna that the things will be okay when they assist. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I think
yes, Chitra Putra.
Like he tried to present his own before Kamal and before Kamala Prabhu.
Chitra Putra.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance.
All glory to God.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glory to Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Thank you all. Thank you, Maharaj, for giving me this opportunity to also say something and present something of my understanding in terms of preaching to my very audience and that. So I'll begin to glorify their lordships and gurus. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhut. Omajana Timiranda Siajana Jana Salaka Chaksam Litaminata Special. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhut. Rishmati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namni Namaste Saraswati Devi. Guravani Precharini Vishista Sunyabadi Paschati and Shatari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gurava. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So my presentation is based on the chapter 21, the conversation between Manu and Kadamba Muni, and between Swayambhuva Manu and Kadamba Muni, and it is on the test 50 to 54, the test 50 to 54, in terms of preaching application. So the first test 50 says that the translation, let me go with translation straight away, and it says that the tour you have undertaken, O Lord, is surely intended to protect the virtuous and to kill the demons, since you embody the protecting energy of Sri Hari. So this is a glorification by Kadamba Muni to Swayambhuva Manu, who has visited him in his ashram. Yes, and he's glorifying the fact that Kadamba Muni is glorifying Swayambhuva Manu for the fact of him moving about in different places to ensure that things were in order. And he's speaking that his move about is to ensure, as a Kshatriya, his move about is to ensure that to protect virtuous people and to kill the demons who do not promote righteousness or moral values or religious. And since the Manu is a representative of the Supreme Lord, he is the embodiment of the energy of Sri Hari. Yes. Srila Prabhupada gives in purport that pious kings used to tour their kingdoms in order to give protection to the pious citizens. Kshatriyas were allowed to commit violence as part of their duty, as a way of killing demons or killing immoral people who try to disobey the order of the Supreme Lords, who do not want to follow moral values and religious principles. Yes, so therefore, Kshatriyas or kings were allowed to commit such violence. One may ask the question that if they are committing such violence, is it not a sin? The answer is no, because it is approved or sanctioned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is like the Lord Himself is pursuing that course. So Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport to this particular text, he will make reference to the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 8. Paritranaya sadunam vinashaya cha duskritam. Vinashaya cha duskritam. Dhamma samspatanataya sambhavami yuge. Where he explains that to deliver the pious and as well as to annihilate the miscreants and to re-establish the principles of religion, the Supreme Lord Himself appeared. Krishna says he appeared millennium after millennium. Therefore, it is not at all sinful, as one may object, if a Kshatriya kills or persons in administrative or heads of states kill persons who are committing immoralities, who are killing others, and who are promoting irreligious activities. Srila Prabhupada continues to give advice that one must have the potency or the energy. A king or a Kshatriya or one in a representative of the Lord must have the potency of the Supreme Lord or the energy of the Supreme Lord. This potency that Srila Prabhupada is talking about, in one sense, it means that, one can only have that potency if he can worship the Supreme Lord, if he can act to please the Supreme Lord. That means those in the representative of the Lord, such as the heads of states or the Kshatriyas, those in administrations in our society, and even formally of previous times, they can do that and attain that energy of the Supreme Lord only by the worship of the Supreme Lord or by abiding and following the principles of the Supreme Lord. If they do so, the Supreme Lord bless them with His potency of the ability, the strength and ability to be able to overcome all those demoniacs who are promoting irreligious, who are promoting immoral values like that. But nowadays, the Prabhupada continues to state that nowadays, expert kings are not, he says that nowadays kings and other administrative heads, they are not ready to do that. They rather sit in their comforts, and they are not experts in killing people who are promoting irreligious values. They are rather sitting in their comforts and they watch innocent people being killed. An example in our practical times now, in our practical world, in our times now, that is a few years, in the years of the 1990s, where we can make example of Liberia, of devotees, Mataji, Mother Heladini, and other devotees were killed in the temple, and the temple deities were crushed, and other things, so many things, of which were conducted by people in power, which was very, very much against religious. Another example is recently in Bangladesh, I think last year or the last 2 years, devotees were killed and temples were crushed down same in a very painful manner. Of which the Odaka were reluctant, unwilling to speak, unwilling to prosecute such people to be killed in the same way. So as the Prabhupada is saying, in this our time, kings and administrative heads of society are not performing and are not doing it as it is so in the Vedas. And recently now, currently as it is going on in Russia, in the terms of Russia and Ukraine, people, innocent people are dying, they are being killed, devotees are being killed, women and children have also been killed. All these things does not promote religious balance. It is the duty of Kshatriyas and administrative sector of the societies to ensure that religious persons and innocent persons, women and children, are being protected as it is being said in the Vedas. It is their duty to do that. It's the duty of the Kshatriyas to protect Brahmanas, to protect, because by protecting them, they will please the Supreme Lord, and they will promote the Brahmanas and the innocent persons. They will promote religious values, and it will bring so much blessings for things to move on. So that's for the test 50. So we can move to test 51. In the test 51, it says that Kadama Muni continued to glorify Manu, that you are God, Agni, the god of fire, Indra, the lord of paradise, Vayu, and even Yamaraj, the lord of punishment. All obeisances unto you, who are not this is, forgive me, yes, because of time.
Hare Krishna.
So,
His internet is freezing.
His internet is freezing. Actually,
so the Prabhupada says yes. The Prabhupada says that since Kanu, we can see that. Please come on.
Shitra
He's having problems.
is having some little challenge there. Of course, it's already 11 minutes plus now.
I see. And it's exhausted his time.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So can you round up?
Okay, so in running up, the first, so the Prabhupada states in that purport that Swayambhuva is giving respectful obeisances, and therefore we should be ready, regardless of his position as a Brahmana. We should be ready to give respect to people, regardless of also our position as a Brahmana, because Kadamba Muni is giving respect to him, even though Swayambhuva Manu is a Kshatriya. In comparison, Kadamba Muni is in a Brahmanica position, which is higher, but he's giving respect to the Kshatriya because he's a representative of the Supreme Lord. So we should be ready to give respect to our gurus, our teachers, and those who are representing the Supreme Lord, regardless of our statuses in life, so that we can get some blessings and we can it will be honor and it will be improper because the Supreme Lord is always worshipable, and therefore these representatives are also worshipable at all times. In the case when in the Vedas, Mahasana Sutta failed to give respect to Sri Balaram when he attended the audience of the sages, when Mahasana was seated on the highest seat of the asana of the sages, Lord Balaram chastised him. All the sages rise up to give their respects and honor. But Kadama Muni, but Ramahana Sutta failed. And Lord Balaram chastised him and he killed him just with a simple blade of grass. He cut off his head. In the case of Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya, Vasudeva was a Kshatriya. But whenever Vasudeva goes to Nanda Maharaj goes to Mathura, Vasudeva gives him the respect and honor as he deserves, because they are devotees of the Supreme Lord. So we should be ready to give respect and others to people in that. On the last test, 54, so proper 52 to 54, so proper the Sanskrit is saying that you move your chariot to move about, give which gives threats and to coups. In a nutshell, the text is trying to say that yes, it's when kings and Kshatriyas or administrative heads move about in the community, because they are protective of the religious rights and they are superiors, it scares away miscreants who hear of their presence or their coming. Therefore, it is very good that all the time to time, administrative heads, political heads they are supposed to move about and ensure that religious persons who are of moral values are protected, and people who are committing irreligious activities, giving rise to moral values in the community, they are prosecuted or they are killed or eliminated, so that religious activities will go on. We can get example of King Indraduma. King Indraduma used to move to Lord Jagannath's temple to ensure. Before we go to his example, Prabhupada states in the purport that Swayambhuva Manu and King and Sage Kadama Muni was an exemplified person who promote religious rights, and Swayambhuva Manu used to facilitate their worship and provide things necessary for the whole community and all the places to ensure that yajnas are going on, other things are going on to bring about good fortune and good luck from the Supreme Lord. So in the case of Indraduma of Puri, he used to move about and go, yeah.
Shitra Prabhu,
thank you.
Spent 15 and a half minutes. I think I have to stop.
Okay, thank you so much. I guess you can get what I was trying to say. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So any feedback?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Madhavan Prabhu.
Yeah. Let me start this one. I think I was able to make a better follow-up this time around. The presentation by Teacher Putra Prabhu. He started well by at least let us know the text is going to treat, and then stating that it's a preaching application. So I think I'm really impressed in the sense that his system, his way of presentation was more conscious that he's doing a preaching. So, and he demonstrated this act by, he will ask questions and then he will also answer it. So it means he's very conscious that he's preaching and then there's an audience there. He's carrying them along. And then the area where that should be text 50, where it was stated that the responsibility of the king or the rulers is to protect the children, the women, and also the religious people. So he was able to relate it to what is happening in modern day life. So such a preaching will definitely bring the audience, bring out the attention of the audience, brings him closer to the audience. And he started some wonderful example, what happened in 1999 in Liberia, where devotees were just massacred by the then head of state, Ladini, and some other devotees were brutally murdered. He also cited example of the happening in Bangladesh not too long ago, when some devotees were just killed and the government there didn't do anything. He also cited the example of Russian-Ukrainian war, where innocent people were just killed anyhow. So like this, he was trying to saying that Vedic culture is more superior to the modern type of civilization we have nowadays. So I appreciate that part.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Feedback from any other student? Kamala Shapra Winston here.
I'm here.
Okay. So do you want to make a comment? You want to make a comment about Ketu Putna's presentation? First, something good, then some area of improvement, and again, something good. That is the process of making giving feedback.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I'll go to show you.
Go ahead.
His presentation is nice. His understanding, he has a convincing understanding of the subject matter.
Okay.
And his explanation were very thorough. He made some references which the Bhagavad Gita, which Srila Prabhupada stated in one of his purports. These are the good side about his presentation. Then the areas to improve is the area of not keeping to the time. It's like you over exceeded his time.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So any one more person before we say something?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I could see Sakitu made a very nice, wonderful presentation. And the essence of all what I've deduced is that the way he was able to unearth the text to bring it to our current affairs issues, citing the Bangladesh incidents and then the war of Russia-Ukraine now, only that his timing was not proper, but he has shown a good understanding of the text. So we wish next time he can organize himself to go within the time limit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Chitraketu Putra Prabhu, thank you for your presentation. It's quite encouraging, quite nice that you were very strong in your presentation. Just as I said earlier, preaching application means persuading your audience. In order to persuade your audience, you must be convinced of what you are saying. The audience can assess whether you are convinced or you're not convinced. The way you speak, they will they can assess you that, oh, our speaker is convinced of what he's saying, or he's not convinced of what he's saying. So preaching means to persuade, and to persuade means to be convinced of what you are saying, and the audience will perceive it. So thank you for your conviction of what you are saying. You mentioned a number of points. You try to cover all the verses. You cited some examples. You quoted some verses to support. And so that was very nice. However, I would say that given the amount of time to make your presentation, you also have to curtail the material you have to present. Even if you are given 10 verses to present and the time is not enough for the presentation, then you have to pick out very, very important points and then present that. Say, for instance, if I were you talked about Kshatriyas are allowed to commit violence in order to protect the vulnerable. That's the main topic. That's the central theme. That's the central theme. The duty of a Kshatriya. His duty is to provide protection. His duty is to protect the vulnerable in society. His duty is to offer protection to his praja, the citizen. So this is the team. This is your main team. And so you build all other things around it so that you do not exceed your time. In fact, in presentations, time is very important. Yeah, you'll be assessed based on how you utilize your time. Especially if you exceed your time, you may be punished. You may lose some marks. On this one, we are not giving any marks. We are just practicing. So, but we have to use this to learn so that when it comes to the presentation where real assessment and marks are given, we will have the experience to do it. So areas of improvement is that you should summarize your presentation. You cannot say because you have a number of verses, you must cover all the verses. No, pick the points from all the verses, select a team, a central team, and use the other points to just embellish your team so that you don't have to exceed time. Otherwise, it was a very nice presentation, and we encourage you to continue in this way, and you'll be a good Bhakti Vaibhava graduate. So any comment from you, any reaction from you before we go to Kamalaksha Prabhu, even though time is against us? We will seek the indulgence of
Maharaj. Yeah, thank you so much for all your corrections. I'm very very okay with that. And next time I will improve and ensure my time as you have advised. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I want to see the indulgence of the students so that we can extend the time for another maybe 15 minutes so that we can finish this this exercise by allowing Kamalasha Prabhu to make his presentation. And I will also say that he doesn't need to present all the verses because time is limited. He can present 2 or 3 verses. We just want to see. We want to see the effort. We want to see the attempt. We want to see the understanding. We want him to develop the skill. That is the most important thing. So he doesn't really need to present all the verses. He can just present 2 verses, and we want to see how he does it. So, Kamalasha Prabhu, the floor is yours, and Sanika Prabhu can time him so that we see his timing.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Tita Swami Chinamine Namaste Krishna Padaya Upadasitatmane Sri Gora Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tita Chinamine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Swami Chinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Devi Sisruya Bandip Sata Dilatari Jai Shri Krishna Chintaya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gauravata Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So mine is from chapter 3, chapter 21, beginning from text 23. The Lord is making his response to the prayers of Kadamamoni. Text 23 says, the Lord said, having come to know what was in your mind, I have already arranged for that for which you have worshipped me. Well, through your mental and sensory discipline. So prophets purpose mentions here that the Lord knows the desires, the Lord knows the mental situation of every devotee. If we sincerely find Lord, the Lord will always make his effort to seek the satisfaction of every devotee. And Prabhupada also, in his most ambition, he tried to carry out the instructions of his spiritual master. He was always depending on the mercy of the Lord. He wants to go down to the west and spread Christian consciousness. That's why the difficulties and complications eventually he got the access to.
Maybe you should put on the video so that your voice can come out strongly. The video is taking some energy. Sanika, is that all right? Can you put on the video? Only then we hear the voice.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah. Put on your video and let's hear your voice.
So Srila Prabhupada, he demonstrated this by his modern mission, by always depending on the mercy of the spiritual master and the mercy of Krishna to be able to travel down to the West and establish the International Society for Krishna Consciousness despite different odds which he encountered. In text 24, the Lord continued, my dear Rishi, O leader of the living entities, for those who serve me in devotion by worshiping me, especially persons like you who have given up everything unto me, there is never any question of frustration. So Srila Prabhupada here also mentions that anyone who actually puts out his life in a sincere mode of serving the Lord will never meet with any kind of regret, will never meet with any kind of frustration. And devotees, when they apply this kind of mood of always depending on the Lord, praying fervently to the Lord, automatically their desires will be granted by the Supreme Lord. In text 25, the Emperor Srivas Manu, the son of Lord Rama, who is well known for his righteous acts, has a seat in Brahmavata and rules over the earth, which is 7 oceans. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains the importance of living in a spiritually highly charged environment. When a place is spiritually charged, spiritually conducive with cleanliness, automatically it will help one to make more advancement in a spiritual life. Then in text number 26, the text says, the day after tomorrow, O Brahmana, that celebrated emperor who is expert in religious activities will come here, which is Queen Satarupa, wishing to see you. And text 27 says, he has a grown-up daughter whose eyes are black. She is ready for marriage, and she has good character and all good qualities. She's also searching for a good husband. But yes, sir, her parents will come to you who are exactly suitable for her, just to deliver the daughter as your wife. So here Prabhupada explains the importance of parental contribution to the marital situation of their children. In a mature world today, parents just leave their children to make their choice, and this we see result into so many kind of marital complications. So Prabhupada explains here that there's always a need for parents to make input, help their children to choose the right kind of partners. And at the same time also, if a person prays very fervently to the Lord for anything we want to do, Srila Prabhupada did it, praying all the time. Before he travels anywhere, Srila Prabhupada will pray. When Srila Prabhupada established a temple, by the time he's leaving the temple, you see Srila Prabhupada praying very fervently to the deities to forgive the devotees in whichever way they worship him and all that, he should accept, and so on and so forth. So that is the modern mission nature of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You spend altogether 6 minutes, 20 seconds.
Okay. That's okay. So any feedback, any comments?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Kamarasha Prabhu, thank you very much for your presentation. You were talking about mode and mission based on the text and assignment given. Overall presentation was okay. You were direct to the point. But maybe it's my observation. Of course, we are not seeing your video at the time. The mood, which is the main focus of your presentation, didn't come out too strong. The success or the greatness of ISKCON is based on the mood of Srila Prabhupada. And that is an elaborate, rich area of preaching. And your personal mood of accepting, I was expecting how you understand Prabhupada's mood, but we're all learning. And I believe that as you've gone through the exercise, you also will be reflecting on some. I think you could do better than this in a summary. I expect that you could do better than this. Most often for the fact that your years of experience and studying of the scriptures, I was expecting something a little bit more than this. But thank you very much in all. The fact that you've attempted and that you have presented is appreciated. You are conscious of time. You're trying to go straight direct to the point. So summary was okay, but the points didn't come out too strong. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else wants to give a feedback to Kamalaksha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Feedback. Prabhu Kamalaksha, he has tried a lot in the sense that he was faced with a lot of difficulties, especially the network problem. I will have enabled him to do better, having been able to hear the previous presentations. And then also the aspect of mood of Prabhupada. I think it needs an expert to handle this mood and mission. And I think he tried in this aspect, putting in his own years of experience. So he was able to address that. Then the area of timing, like we said, he could have done better, but maybe because of the problems he has been having with networks. So I'm sure on a more level ground, he will perform much more than this. But for the child, I commend him. Despite all the impediments or the problems, he was able to give his presentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Kamalaksha Prabhu, thank you very much for making the attempt to make a presentation. Your presentation is good in the sense that you brought up Prabhupada's mood and mission at the end of every verse, every statement you will mention how they rhyme with Prabhupada's mood and mission. So that is what we are expecting, that if you are going to speak about moral mission, then every sentence, every point you make, you must refer it to Prabhupada's life. And so you did that. The only area I would say is you need to improve is that you did not give examples of Prabhupada's Prabhupada's life. You did not give examples. For instance, if you talk about marriage, you said marriage has to be arranged by the parents, just as the Supreme Lord himself arranged the marriage of Kadarva Muni. So you can also refer to Prabhupada's life. Prabhupada's marriage was arranged by his parents. Prabhupada wanted to marry a particular woman, but his parents disagreed with him. Guru Mohande, Prabhupada wanted to marry a more beautiful girl than his wife. But Guru Mohande said no, that if you marry a very beautiful wife, you become attached. So you take this one, it will help you to become detached. And true to his word, it helped Prabhupada. Even though she disobeyed Prabhupada, she did so many things against Prabhupada, but all those were Gaur Mahande's prayers to allow his son to become a sadhu, to allow his son to become detached from this world in order to carry Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission across the world. So there are a number of instances you mentioned Prabhupada's mood and mission. I was expecting, for instance, living in a holy place. So Prabhupada spent a number of years in Vrindavan. That is where Prabhupada prepared for his mission in the West. He spent many years in Radha Damodara temple. So you mentioned that. And even when he established the Krishna Balaram temple, he established it in Vrindavan. He established in Mayapur, Chandrodaya Mandir in Mayapur. So all of these things are examples, and they serve to highlight the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. So because you want to bring out Prabhupada's mood, you want to bring out Prabhupada's mission, you have to cite some examples. In fact, the first point was frustration. Srila Prabhupada was never frustrated. He never gave into frustration. When he started his lake of devotees in Jhansi, there were a lot of obstacles. And when that kind of failed, Prabhupada didn't give up. He came to Vrindavan and began to study the scriptures. And then after studying the scriptures, he went to America. He didn't say, okay, because I was frustrated in Jhansi, let me call it quits. No, Prabhupada went on. So you can cite some of these examples that would bring out the beauty and that would actually drum home your points in a much more stronger way. It would indicate to your audience that you're really conversant with the subject you are dealing with. So, but besides this, of course, the timing also, you do not utilize all your time. So in presentations, we should always utilize our full time. The only law is don't exceed your time. But make sure you make use of the whole time because there's a lot to present. So anyway, it is a good attempt. It's nice, and since it's a progressive program, we will build on what you have done today in future presentations. So thank you very much. Would you like to react to what has been said so far? Is Kamalasha Prabhu still around, or his internet are taking him off?
Kamalasha Prabhu is gone.
He's gone. So
Yeah.
I could not even get a feedback. Well, I think we have already spent almost 30 minutes extra. It's almost 10:27, 3 more minutes to make 10:30. So I wouldn't want to hold you on because today is Sunday and some of you have responsibilities of, arranging for your Sunday programs and so on. So we would end here. Maybe next week, before we go to the next chapter, we would look at some other verses like between 44 and 50. We did not touch on that. And I think also between 34 and 38. So we'll round up that chapter before we go to a new chapter next week. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Great Srivas Vanacari Prabhu, for your wonderful coordination and guide teaching mode. We really appreciate. teaching the practical aspect. I appreciate the example you gave of the experience with Maharaj and his reluctance to wanting to come out, and then how it became a benefit in the future. So thank you so much for giving us that. It's an encouraging one. It's a motivating one. So thank you so much. I want to thank all of the devotees also who are still on the platform, who have taken time to participate in this exercise. This is what we have given our life to study and give Krishna consciousness as we have received from the previous acharyas. Thank you all for participating. So on this note, I'll request everyone to please kindly unmute. Let us loudly chant the powerful Hare Krishna mantra to appreciate our teacher, His Grace Srivas Vanacari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyas Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinde ki jai.
Jai. Prabhupada ki jai.